Welcome to Bluebonnet Crafters. My name is Gabi, and in this video we will show you how to weave the center part of our hexagon. If you missed it, there is another part that shows you how we have gotten to this part. We started at the white nails and wove in loops all around, building the warp threads and filling in the triangle parts at the same time. So this is part 2. Part 1 was woven with the crochet hook. Now we put the crochet hook to the side and we will continue with the steel needle. It's a blunt needle with a blunt tip, and let's take a look. Yeah, okay, we're good. And first we need now a length of yarn. Remember, we call it the continuous strand weaving, so we don't want to just cut off the yarn and do something here, but we want to prepare and do everything with just one strand of yarn. First, what I want to do is I will take a little bit yarn off my yarn ball here. To fill in the center of this loom size, I need about 5 times the perimeter of the hexagon. That means 5 times going around the whole hexagon will give me the right length of yarn to fill in the center. So let's do this. I'm going counterclockwise here to where it comes out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I want to sew the hexagons together to make a design, I will give it some extra length, which is sufficient if I just continue to go to the top of the loom plate and just snip it off right there. At this point, we put the thread through the needle. And it's time to weave. I would like to point out again, I'm left-handed, but at this point it absolutely does not matter whether you're left-handed or right-handed, because all you will do is weave the regular method, going back and forth and with the threads up and down. I will turn it around to get started for me. Here's where the yarn comes out of the loom, and we're going around the black nail here on this corner, and then we want to start weaving this direction. Take a look what the first thread is. You need to go under the next one, over, under, over, under, over. So we'll do this all the way across. And come out between the black nail and the first brown nail on the side. One thing I like to do is I like to put my finger on top of the nails where I'm weaving while I'm pulling through the thread. That helps that the yarn doesn't run away and stays in the place where it's supposed to be. All right, so first row is woven, and I use my packing comb or fork to pack in the thread. All right, I will turn my loom at this point, and again the yarn goes around the next nail. This time the first warp is up high, so I go over, under, over, under. If you are not sure how to start, just look at the threads, and if the warp is on top, you go over it. If it's at the bottom, you go under it. Put again my finger on it. Oh, there we go. With this one. There we go. And pack it. You don't have to move or turn. You can just go from the other side with your other hand if you want to do that. Under, over. And this is me doing it with my right hand, just as a proof of concept. It goes a little bit more slowly, but it's absolutely doable. Some people have asked me, does the needle really have to be 7 inches? No, it does not. You can absolutely use a shorter needle if you want to. However, I have noticed that if I weave a lot, I like to have the flexibility of using the long needle. There's much less motion necessary if the needle is a little bit longer. You can get away with a needle as short as 5 inches. I like the 7-inch needles for the little motion that I just told you about, but it's not absolutely necessary. Your kit will ship with a long 7-inch blunt needle. All right, from now on, it's really just look where you need to get started. Over, under, over, under, over, all the way through. And you always go through the next nail space and pack it and turn it over, under, all the way through. I will show you one more thing. If you are using very thin or thinner yarn, a thin worsted yarn, or maybe even a DK, I would not go too thin. You can use very thin yarns like sock yarn and just double it. It looks beautiful because it automatically will create one of those basket weave effects if you double the yarn. So that looks good, and it's actually a lot of fun to weave, and it creates a beautifully smooth fabric if you use sock yarn. But if you have a yarn that's just in between, or if you would prefer to have just a little bit thicker fabric in general, or denser fabric in general, feel free to double a nail or two. So sometimes I have it where I have worsted weight yarn that's just a tad too thin for my taste. And what I do is there are 9 nails here on those sides. And what I do if the yarn is just a tad too thin, I double the 4th nail. And I can show you what I would do here. I'm here on the 4th nail on the other side. So basically you just weave normally. And when you get to the other side, just pull it through. And then instead of going into the next space, you just put the yarn over the previous nail again, and I just show you without weaving it. You would weave through and do the same on the other side and weave there again. Make sure that if you do that, you do it on both sides. Again, this is when the yarn is just a tad too thin, or you would like it a little bit denser. Just double it here in the center, and it will even out later on just beautifully. Right now for this yarn, I am happy with the way it comes out without doubling the center nail. So I will just continue weaving until I fill up the whole space in the center. If I don't talk and show so much, it actually goes relatively quickly. I have woven several hundred hexagons at this point. So yeah, I would say I'm not a beginner anymore. I can, if I concentrate and go for speed, I can weave up to 6 hexagons in 1 hour. So this is about 10 minutes per hexagon. Of course, as a beginner, this will be more slowly. But I'm pretty confident that after a little practice, you can comfortably achieve 2 or 3 or more hexagons in 1 hour, which is very nice because those hexagon designs that you can find online, you know, they live by, okay, you put hexagons together into beautiful designs. So you want to make definitely more than just a few. At the same time, one thing that I notice, if I just want to swatch a yarn or try something out, I just make one and finish it as a coaster. I have a lot of coasters at this point, you know, for coffee mugs and what have you. They have just the right, those hexagons have just the right size. All right, I'm very close to the top at this point, and I would like to show you one more thing. Maybe we can zoom in. We are getting close. This is the second to last row that we will be weaving. And it might be a little bit confusing and spooking the closer you get with weaving the center, the closer you get to the triangle that you have woven before. When you get to the second and last row, don't get confused, just weave the way you did. Okay, here the thread is up, so I go over, under, and here's what I would like to show you. When you do this, this is the second to last row, you will weave the same over and under as the last row of the top triangle. Don't get confused. You're doing the right thing. Just be brave and continue weaving that second to last row, and the actual last row will do some magic. Make sure that you pack your threads. You can move the triangle a little bit up and the center a little bit down, and here comes the last row around the last nail. The first thread is down, so I want to lift it up. I go under, over, and if you now watch where my needle goes, it splits those two rows that looked the same before and turns it into a perfect plain weave. All right, let's pull this through. And here we go. Take a look at that. Here's your hexagon. It's all woven out. All right, let's take another break, and all that's left is to take a look at how we take the hexagon off our loom. Thank you for watching.